A couple of things happened around the same time to inspire this post. The capsized boat of the live export sheep, and me discovering livestock products from Australia in my local Safeway. Combined, it's an opportune moment to examine just how full of shit we are capable of being. I was just in Safeway and I was surprised to find, by the way, I'll explain what I'm doing in the meat section. I go there occasionally to remind myself how expensive meat is and how gross it looks in the packaging, even though I used to love it. That's not really the point. The point is that as I was looking at the prices, I noticed that some of it said product of Australia and grass-fed on it. And of course, you know, grass-fed is supposed to be, you know, a higher quality product or a desired product. And that normally means it's more expensive. You know, it falls into organic or, you know, not doing the grain-fed thing, which, by the way, for those of you who don't know, cows are not supposed to be eating grain. That is an economic decision, which is why such a massive portion of the United States consists of growing agriculture crops that are fed to livestock, not to humans. But in any case, the fact that it was grass-fed and then came all the way over to here from Australia should be making you wonder what the hell is going on instead of celebrating it and being more eager to buy it. You shouldn't be able to purchase the product of a living creature that came from the exact other fucking side of the world for a bargain price. That's insane. So how is it possible? Well, most of these exports go to the Middle East, from Australia at least. But obviously, some of it's coming to the United States as well. Now, some of you might be wanting to call me out already and say, well, you don't know that the meat at Safeway is from those horrific boats. Right, because Safeway, where you go to bargain shop, I mean, you're at Safeway buying meat. You're not at your local butcher. You're not out at a farm. You're not killing the cow yourself and chopping it up. So cut the bullshit. And in fact, you're only at Safeway because you couldn't make the trip to Costco to save an even further amount of money on an even more horrific source of the meat that you're consuming. So let's take a look at these live export boats. I mean, don't. Maybe I'll save most of it. No, watch it. I'm sorry, you need to see this. You don't need to, I don't know. It depends how desperately you're gonna cling to the idea of what humane means and sustainable means and a proud product and people who care about the conditions of animals. We've already seen it with the dairy industry, the best of the best, Fairlife and the other ones who were supposed to be the model for dairy, doing unspeakable things, things that you, yes you, can't even look at without a piece of your soul dying. It's that fucking terrible. And that's why I say humans have traded in living life for making a living. How the fuck do you willingly choose for your profession to be involved in any way, shape, or form what is happening to other living creatures? I don't care how stupid you want to pretend that those animals are. What that dumb animal, and by the way, they're not dumb, but I'll just go with the ignorant approach of, oh, it's a dumb animal, so it's okay. That's intense, immeasurable suffering from a dumb animal. How convenient that we, our own species, gets to decide what's dumb or not. So I revisited some of these live export videos and, you know, it effed up my entire day. I wasn't going to do this video. I certainly have other things I should be working on. My God. These animals are buried in their own fucking shit. They end their lives quivering on a floor as death slowly approaches them from starvation or disease or just being exposed to their own fecal matter and those around them for weeks at sea on massive boats where they can't move. And then you got these follow-up videos where these fucking pieces of shit come on and tell you how much they care about the animals and that what you've been hearing about isn't true, and you're like this Daryl Anderson pile of shit, I'm gonna give you a tour on board this boat that has just been cleaned and doesn't have a single animal on it. But I want you to think about just how good and wonderful our company is and how much pride we take in it. Next come the people explaining that they're doing it to fulfill the desires of a culture because of religious reasons and cultural reasons to consume meat. And it's important to them that the meat is fresh, not frozen. Oh boy. You're gathering around a table praying to a god and acting like you give a shit about being a good person while you are sitting yourselves around absolute, complete, and total misery and suffering. You're putting misery and suffering into your bodies and praying to God over it. And I'm not ripping on the Middle East specifically, it's just these videos because we're doing it here in the United States, and we're about to do it on a grand scale in a few days for Thanksgiving, in which a bunch of you fucking assholes are gonna sit and pretend that what you're gathering around the table didn't also come from extreme suffering. Because denial. I mean, the amount of denial our quote-unquote intelligent species is capable of is really flabbergasting. But I'm sorry, okay, you're the exception. Your turkeys that you got at Costco for $1, and your ham that you got at Costco for a deal with an endless supply of ready-to-go hams behind that one, when the entire horde of human beings has gone through Costco that day, and the next day the shelves and the backstock is replenished. I'm sure every single one of those pigs and turkeys had an incredible life. Every single animal being eaten this Thanksgiving led a great life from beginning to end, right up until it was killed. Speaking of great life, okay, so let's get back to the bullshit of these people trying to defend live export. Look what this bitch is standing in front of as she literally says the words, "It's important to make the connection between well-being and our products."
Animal welfare is obviously vital on board a livestock vessel, not only because we have a moral obligation to protect those animals and to ensure that they're not stressed by the procedure, but also because there's a really strong relationship between animal welfare and product quality.
These animals are living ass to face, smashed into a pen. This is their life. This is before they get onto the boat and face the shitty conditions. This is life. Stand here together inside of a pen on top of dirt. You don't get to explore. You don't get to have freedom. You don't get to roam. You don't get to find a mate. You don't get to do anything except for be a prisoner from the beginning of your life to the end of it. And depending on how lucky or unlucky you are, your life might last longer than others. And in this case, you're unlucky if your life lasts longer, because look at what the fuck these animals go through so that people can consume a product that they don't need. Then goes on the propaganda of this fucking dipshit talking about how This industry was important to building Australia, and we set the standard for quality, and we care about the religious beliefs of these people, and that's the reason that we make such an effort to get these animals over to them. So let's play the bullshit game. Yeah, these people care. They care about the animals, and they care about the religious beliefs and cultures and traditions of these people in the Middle East. What wonderful, incredible people these industry executives and employees are. Incredible. Let's talk about life, people. I mean, the bullshit we tell ourselves about other animals. Not a single one of you would want to live the life that these people define as humane and good and caring. You couldn't last a fucking day in the conditions that they put these animals through. And that's before the hidden cameras reveal what happens on the boats after weeks at sea. Oh, man, I almost forgot. Okay, so listen to the music. First there's the videos that expose what happens on board these boats. And then there's the people that are convincing you that it's good. And listen to the music they're playing. These animals, just again, I know you don't want to believe that animals are like us, and I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but for you to pretend that they're so fucking disconnected and stupid that they don't have the sense to be freaking out when they're being shoved into pens and prodded down carts and never see a fucking tree or a leaf or a blade of grass in their entire lives or nothing but being around other bleeding animals, you'd be fucking already insane. But that's humane because somebody said it's humane. It's good, it's great. And there's pretty music playing, happy music playing. It's like, unless you're seeing someone beat a baby goat in the head with a blunt object until it finally stops quivering and squirting blood, it's not abuse. I mean, that's where we're heading, and many of us are already there. You're not moved until you see that. And right up until then, it's acceptable. It's a good life for those animals. I mean, motherfuck, what has happened to you? What has happened to all of us? Come on! So these animals on these big live export ships. So let's say that there's success in stopping the live export. So what, now it's a happy ending because these animals were being treated well right before they got put on that boat of hell? I mean, the same goddamn people responsible for the life these animals end up having are also responsible for the life leading up to it. How much do you think they fucking care about that animal and the conditions it's living in? And then we jump to the really convenient excuse of, well, it's not a human. It's not the same because it's not us. Motherfuck, just stop it. Again, we're pretending to be an intelligent species while saying that magically every animal on this planet doesn't require the basic physical needs that keep animals alive. We're the only ones that require that. Because that thing doesn't look exactly like us, because it doesn't read books, something that we invented, by the way. They didn't invent it, we invented it. But yet we judge them by standards of things that are unique just to our species. I mean, fuck, if we're so goddamn smart, why aren't we learning their languages instead of trying to make animals learn our language? So, sheep don't suffer the way we do. And if you happen to not be close to a particular dog, some of you will say, dogs don't suffer the way that we do. Dogs aren't intelligent. Dogs don't have personalities. Dogs don't feel or suffer. And of course, many of you know that that's absolute, complete, and utter bullshit. And yet, those same people will accept the excuse that another creature that doesn't quite look like the dog, and that we have traditionally decided to commoditize, therefore it lives its entire life as a prisoner, and therefore we never even experience what it would actually be like if it was a free animal, what kind of a personality it might have if we treated it with decency. But we're looking at an animal that is in a cage its entire life and is basically clinging to the frayed ends of sanity because of what we have limited its existence to. But because we aren't charmed by the personality of that animal, it suddenly does not have the basic needs and desires or instincts or sensations or sentience that all creatures on this planet have. Think of the absurdity of saying that out of all the species on this planet, we're the only ones that that rule applies to. How fucking convenient is that? And you knew better as a child. You instinctively knew better, and you were hurt and horrified when you first would witness other humans doing uncompassionate things to creatures. But those adults quickly instilled in your mind that it was okay, and that what you felt in your heart and knew in your mind were untrue. Why? Because those adults are animal experts, because they know something. They don't know a goddamn thing except for what the adults taught them, the brainwashing that they went through. And it all comes down to making a living, meeting our needs, making a buck, carrying out a way of life. By the way, for all you motherfucking ranchers and dairy people out there using the, oh, it's a tradition, it's a way of life. Fuck you and your shitty, evil way of life. All right, I've made the animals that are here with me suffer long enough. By the way, we're all animals. We're in the animal kingdom, which was created by humans. So if you don't like being referred to as an animal, you can take that up with the human that created the animal kingdom classification system. Anyway, these particular animals that I brought out here so they could at least enjoy being outside while I record this tirade after seeing that bullshit at Safeway. I'm gonna now let them enjoy running around. They're free to do it, but they're hanging out around me because they don't understand what the hell I'm acting this way for. But let's end this video on a positive note with some footage of what it looks like for them to enjoy the simple pleasure of free will, freedom and exploration that means so much to all of us, not just humans, everything.